Hello, this is Mara Jane, and you're listening to The Unseen Perspective. Hello, and welcome back to The Unseen Perspective. I'm your host, Mara Jane, and today we are going to be looking at how blind people access literature, so how we read books. So, I myself, as you know, am visually impaired, and I love to read, just for fun. I don't particularly like imitating for school, but reading in general is a very enjoyable activity for me. So today we are going to be looking at how blind people access books. So we actually have a lot of different options for accessing books. So obviously we can't just pick up a regular book and read it. I have told people that I wish I could do that, and they have laughed at me, but I mean, it's understandable because people are used to just being able to pick up a book and read it, but we cannot do that. But we do have a lot of other options that we can utilize to read books. So the first option would be using just the handheld magnifier to read like a regular book. Obviously, this only works if you have a good amount of functional vision. I do, but I still don't like reading books in this manner because it hurts your eyes, it hurts your back. But in a pinch, it is handy to read recipes or small little passages. But here I have a magnifier, if you're watching on YouTube, if you have functional vision, you can see it has a little light, and I just shine that in my face. And there's just a little lens that you can look through to read books, which I have read books this way before, like novels, but it's kind of a pain, so I don't usually do that. I also have a CCTV, which is basically just a big monitor with a camera attached to it. And I've also used that to read books. It's a little bit less annoying, but I still try to avoid reading print books just because my eyes strain so easily, and obviously the bending over hurting my back. There is also electronic books, so we as people with visual impairments have access to various book programs online, so we can get like free electronic books or free audiobooks, which is super nice. But I still try to avoid reading books on my computer because even though I can magnify it and read it, I still have to bend over a lot and squint my eyes, and it's just not ideal. So the mediums that I typically go with are, so like I said, we have access to various different book programs online, so kind of like online libraries. And not only can you get electronic print books or audiobooks, you can also get Braille books, so you can download these and then transfer them onto a Braille note taker or some sort of Braille reader. So I personally own a Braille Note Apex. This is a Braille note taker. You can not only do word processing and record memos and even access the internet on here, you can also read books. So I like to download books onto an SD card and then transfer them onto what I call my Braille note, and then just read them on here. So if you are watching this may look like a strange device to read books on, which is understandable, because it only has this little line of Braille cells. But you can use the thumb keys on the side of the Braille note or on the bottom to navigate through and actually read pretty quickly and pretty proficiently. And this is probably my preferred mode of reading. But I like to switch it up. So there's also the option of hard copy Braille, which takes up a lot of space and has its own challenges. Obviously, an embosser, which is basically like a Braille printer, makes a lot of noise, and it takes a long time and takes up space, so it's not ideal, but it can happen. You can also purchase Braille books from different organizations, but it is handy. It's a little nicer on your fingers than the electronic Braille is, and it looks cool when you're reading it, which I guess so would the Braille note, but sometimes these are just better. I don't know. I also have these little things that I get from Xavier Society for the Blind. Shout out, love them. They're the Mass propers for each month, so that's just the readings and the gospel and whatnot for each Mass, which these are really handy. And another reading medium that I do not prefer is large print. So this is just one of many volumes of a large print Bible that I have. It's the Gospels and the Acts of the Apostles, and it has print that I can read, but it's still kind of difficult to read. Most people's definition of large print is not very large. So some visually impaired people would prefer that, which is okay, but I do not, because it hurts my eyes, and it's just really inconvenient to have to like hold it up close to my face, and especially with such a big volume. But it is handy sometimes. Another book medium that I enjoy is audiobooks. So I have access to a program called Bard. So this program gives me access to tons of different audiobooks. So I have here with me today my Victor Reader Stream, which is a handy little device that allows me to listen to audiobooks, podcasts, the radio, stuff like that. And so it's kind of like an old style flip phone in a way. It has the little keypad that you type with and search for books, and it has play, pause, fast forward, rewind, there's a sleep button, bookmarks, bookshelf, all sorts of different things, but it's all in this little compact rectangle, which is easy to carry around, it's lightweight, it's easy to use. Also, with Bard, I get access to an app called Bard Mobile. And with Bard Mobile, I can do basically the same things as I can on my Victor Stream, but on my phone. So, this is also handy, but I prefer the Victor Stream just because it doesn't have a screen and I don't have to look at it, which is pretty great for a blind person. But there are also various other devices that you can use as a blind person to access media, access literature. This is the things that I have shown you today or described today are just some of my preferred methods, but there are obviously, you can get very creative with it. So even though it is frustrating to not be able to just pick up a regular book and just read it without any issues, it is pretty cool, all the stuff that we get access to as blind and visually impaired people in the literature world. Like I said, I absolutely love to read, so these perks are especially handy for me and other blind readers. It's also helpful for school accommodations, so I personally don't take tests or anything like that in Braille, but if we need to read something for school or do a worksheet, then it can be embossed for me and I can read it in Braille, or I can read it on my computer electronically. There are also screen readers available on laptops and mobile devices, and you can have it read stuff to you. I personally don't use these a whole lot. I do sometimes. For example, if someone sends me a long text or an email or something, I might use it, but some blind people use it a lot more than I do. These screen readers are available on Apple devices, Android devices, phones, laptops, desktop computers, tablets, all kinds of stuff. My MacBook and all other Apple devices have VoiceOver, which is just the Apple screen reader. I personally hardly use this at all, but I have been kind of brushing up on it because you never know when it might come in handy. It does kind of creep me out though, because the voice that it has on my computer right now breathes, and that's very odd because it's not alive, but yeah. So if there are any favored mediums for reading for the blind and visually impaired that I failed to mention or that I should touch on more, please feel free to reach out. You can follow us on Instagram at The Unseen Perspective 2024. You can also email us at theunseenperspective2024@gmail.com. We are on Spotify and YouTube. We would appreciate your follow or subscription, but that is all I have for you all today. So I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I hope you'll tune in for future episodes. But for now, have a wonderful day, wonderful night, morning, afternoon, whenever you're listening to this, and I'll see you next time.